On a loading day, I start about 6:30, start tipping the trucks with the local crew, separate the boxes into the right areas. And then when the rest of the team arrive at 7:30, we start giving everyone jobs what to do and start loading in. So it's just different challenges every day, different size stages because we're not touring our own stage. So every day is different.
My name is Glenn Johnson. I'm the lighting director for the Robbie Williams Tour. We started with Robbie in 2022. I think it's just over 622 fixtures in total on the whole show. So most of our lights are an Ayrton brand. So we have just under 100 Perseos, Mambas for the side wings, and the Ergo FXs for wash and dancer lighting. And then the rest of it will be Martin XIPs for the auras on stage, the small washes. We have the Velocis upstage at the back and Velocis on the front truss. And then the rest of it is all Charvet PXL bars because they're IP rated and they're in the rain all the time. The Ergo 6FX is on the front truss of the Velocis. And then key lights are all the same throughout, along with the robo spots. They're all the I40s. We have LTXs for the spots, and we have the standard I40s, so we can colour match them. Basically, this is all relating back to the log LUT filming that we're doing. We have a 10 gig fibre backbone network, but it's actually looped all the way around. So it does the 4 delays, the C stage, the B stage, and the main stage, and the 2 dimmer positions as well. So we run Luminex throughout the whole thing. It all came from a conversation. So the creative director on this tour is a guy called Kim Gavin, who worked with a company called Stewfish out of London. And then the lighting designer is a guy called Paul Normandale. Stewfish is the production design house, but it's all Kim Gavin's, basically. He's the creative lead. Yeah, I do all the programming and I run the show for Paul and Kim. So it's my first year on an MA3. I did one tour earlier this year for James Blunt on an MA3, and now I've gone MA3 for this as well, which seems to be the default console now. I think most of us have changed over from the old MA2 days, and nearly everyone's slowly moving across fully now. When we start something like this, I start back in April, and I'll go in and basically get all the time coding done first. So nearly 80% of the songs are time coded. So I'll do all the legwork of just breaking down the songs, getting all the time code in, so everything. So it's like a complete blank book that I'm ready, and then I can just fill in as I need to. And then I'll make a start before we even get to site with looking at the color reference charts for each of the video content for each song. So I'll fill in most of it for them. So when we actually get to rehearsals, we have most of it there already. We did 2 weeks at LH2 rehearsals, and then we went for 10 days outdoors in a stadium, just the whole rig, and we programmed the rest of it there when we have all the dancers and all the set, so then we fill in around that. Because of the way we're filming this and dealing with the log LUT, we have to do colour balancing on every single light and make sure that we're hitting 56K is what we're running on this show.
My name's Richard Turner. I am working as the colorist on this tour. Fundamentally on this, I'm making Robbie look his best. Having human eyes on the screen, critical eyes looking at his skin tone and the balance. All of the cameras are outputting log, which looks grey and horrible, but in fact there is much more information in the signal, and stay log all the way through until they hit the media server, which is what mixes the playback content with the live material. There is a LUT applied, which is a lookup table to take it into the right space. And then on top of that, I have a color profile, which is controlled remotely from live grade So my job is just to keep that skin tone consistent through the huge lighting differences from what you're seeing now with bright sunlight through to darkness. Glenn is trying to balance up, but there is only so much that can be done.
That's why usually these are 2 preview monitors right here. So I have all the camera feeds. I have the same as what Todd has over there. Todd does the final mix up there, and we just keep everything balanced and in the right range for them.
When you look at the screen and look at the sun on the screen, this is about the worst grading environment you could possibly have. So the light is pulling it mostly into the right space, and then I have to adjust depending. It tends to be more about what color costume he's wearing. So he's got a very heavy red, a very heavy pink, and then a white. So trying to reflect both the color of the costume and skin tone correctly between what you're seeing on the eye and what you're seeing on the screen. Select a preset there, and then it's on the wheels. Yeah, it's the tangent control surface. Talks to live grade talks to disguise. We've got 8 system cameras, Panasonic, basically the standard Panasonic 4K system camera, 6 Blackmagic G2s, and then a Sony Alpha on DJI Radio Link there. Robbie's walk from the main stage to the C stage. We've got following him round on a gimbal. So that's a Sony Alpha camera. A couple of Mac Minis that have got Adja IO3 in-out. So that's what goes, so I can see a live input into live grade. I'm adjusting that input, looking at a monitor here and the screens. Pretty much every rack we've got Stage Racer, so fiber connect all the, so there's LED racks off stage, LED racks on stage, this here, PPU, Stage Racer fiber, star topology back to Stage Racer master and PPU.
So it's all matched constantly, because the worst time for any outdoor show is usually just dusk, is when you're just starting to change all the light levels. So sometimes when we start this show, it is daylight and there is absolutely nothing you can do about it. So we are set locked at 56, but we have a lot of minor screening and stuff just to bring his skin color out. So that was set by the DOP, Brett. We worked with him, we went through every light just to make sure that anything that would hit Robbie would be in 56 all the time. And it's just watching the balances. So this half of the desk is all to do with balancing the show. And this side of the desk is all just about running the song. So I just spend my time just tweaking and changing and just dropping levels slightly. It's all programmed. So all I'm doing is limiting to allow for whatever daylight situation we're in. And then I balance all the haze and all the smoke. So all the smoke machines are separate as well, because we don't like smoke as you would think. We like the haze version. And it depends which way the wind's blowing, which one I'm using at which song and which time. My job's quite simple, really. It's about the balance of the whole show. The time code will do the legwork for me, which means I can actually look at the show, watch what I'm doing, and balance the haze, balance the spots, make sure everyone's happy. Just from the desk, I have my preview monitors. We have a WYSIWYG, but that's mainly for support bands who turn up. We like to make sure they're looked after, so when they turn up, because for them, unfortunately, they're in the daylight world, so at least they can see everything and see what their rig's doing and make their day easier. So timecode comes from playback engineer, who's James, stage left by Monitor World, yeah, because he'll always look at the band members when to start and cut in. About 80% of the songs are time-coded, but nearly every song finishes about 8 bars before the end, so the band can freestyle out or do whatever ending they like, depending on what Rob's up to and stuff. He starts, plays, and he'll drop it out, but we have a comm system where he can talk directly to me and he'll tell me if timecode stops or anything like that. There's a couple of songs we loop it, depending on how long it takes Robbie to walk from the main stage to the C stage. We make it as easy as possible for the rack engineers back there, because there's 20 cameras. When we did the clean programming, which is in the stadiums, we balanced it all out and we can see where our problems are and we've sorted them all out already. It just depends on what we get each evening and what time we go on stage and not. Once it goes dark, I very rarely then have to do anything. There's like a 15-minute window where it really starts changing and everyone then just has to work together. The only people I speak to is the 9 follow spot operators. I say hello on the show channel and then I turn it off when we run the show because I have all of my stuff to deal with and they don't want to hear me and I don't want to hear them because there's a lot of choreography going on because of all the risers moving as well. So all the band positions change each song. This show is very precise and Robbie moves very quickly. And it's easier for a spot person to do it than a tracking because Robbie will go quickly to one place and then come back suddenly. It's making sure that the creative get what they want, the lighting designer's got what he wants, the artist is happy, management are happy, and everyone is in a good place, and they all get what they want. And that's basically my job. As long as I have a good night and everything runs exactly as it should, then I'm happy.
My name's Joe Harling. I do front of house for Robbie Williams. On this tour, I am using the Digico Quantum 338. Previously, I was using a Quantum 7. All these shows are outdoor shows, pretty much, and the modern desks have much brighter screens. But I mean, inputs from stage, it's around about 100, something like that. If you count effects returns and stuff as channels, then it's full up, basically. Me and Dan, the monitor engineer, share an opto loop with our Digico desks and all the stage racks. So there is there's a mini rack on the drum riser for all the drum stuff, and then there's like SD rack stage left, SD rack stage right, and then some other optical devices on the loop. So that's all just comes down fibers to me. Then I'm using a DAD AX64 for my analog I/O and for my Pro Tools recording and for some other conversions, MADI to Dante, stuff like that. It's amazing. And then I go Dante and analog into my Lake, and then I go AES and analog to Vile, our system engineer. On vocals, we are all on Audio-Technica AE6100s.
Main vocal, 111 222 345.
I think Audio-Technica make good quality stuff at a good price point. In terms of drum mics, we have a few funky things. We've got some standard things like 91s and stuff. My kick-out mics are Dr. Alien Smith Capsule 8s, which are made from headphone drivers, and they're like a figure 8 mic. They're really cool. They give me something really different that complements the 91. Snares are all Bayer Dynamic 201s, top and bottom. They're my favorite snare mics. Monitors also has a DPA underneath because they want it slightly brighter in the in-ears. We're using the Earthworks Generation 2 DM20s, I think they're called, for the toms. They're brilliant. I love how they sound. We take a separate input from the triggers, and then just in the Digico, I can select a key input. So I just come straight off the preamp into the key input of the gate. They're not doing anything else. There's no sounds being triggered. It's just keying the gate. It's just slightly more accurate. All the cymbal mics are DPA 2011s. Apart from that, everything else is like, Kempers and Quad Cortexes. They're all stereo, basically. There are some duplicates because sometimes the guitar player is wired and in place, and other times they're RF, so that goes to a different Kemper, just for convenience, really, more than anything. I personally think they sound better. We're using the Rupert Neve DIs on those. I remember the first time I used one was on a gig where the bass was just the DI. That's how I inherited the gig, and it was just the standard radial or whatever, and I said, please can we try this? And it really sort of opened up the low end a lot. So I think they're really nice.
But you, my guiding soul.
I use a lot of subgroups. For instance, my drums, there's like nested groups. So he's got 2 kick drums, 2 snare drums. The top and bottom, the in and out, will go to their own mono group, which will then go to the drum group. All the toms go to a group, which then goes to the drum group. So on the individual groups, I have some plugins running on the Fourier, generally just a bit of compression, maybe a bit of dynamic EQ. Then the overall drum group comes into some analog processing I have here. You know, there's like a melodic group for all pianos, brass, tracks, all stuff like that. And then everything goes to a band group, there's a BV group. It's quite a good way of doing like mix minuses and stuff if you need to do that for broadcast or whatever. You know, I've got 2 pages of groups in the middle, the output section, but they're also often mixed in with my input channels. So on my first page of drums is just for the kicks and the snares. So there's 8 input channels and 4 groups on that layer. And then for instance, you know, the toms group will be after the toms, the vocal groups will be after the vocals, that sort of thing. Just easy access really, in case I need to do any quick bits of EQ or anything on there. I've got lots of effects running in. I've got the Fourier Transform Engine running, Seventh Heaven by Liquid Sonics, which is a really great Brocasti sort of model. A lot of the TC electronic stuff, the VSS3s. Pretty much everything has access to a reverb. There's 2 drum reverbs, there's a guitar reverb, there's a acoustic reverb, there's a brass reverb, and there's a BV reverb, a Rob reverb, there's pitch shifters, there's delays for the vocals. At the same time, it's not a reverby show on the whole. Like, especially his vocals, he doesn't like reverb very much, and if you listen to his records, they're very dry. So you have to find a way of like making space around the vocal without it being the vocal comes into the desk, has a tiny bit of subtractive EQ there. Then it's going into the Fourier, and it has a multi-band on it just to dip the low end a bit, and a de-esser. And I'm also using Soothe Live, which is just calms the high-mid sort of resonances a bit. It goes into a couple of analog pieces, the Kush Audio UBK Fatso, which just catches the very peaks when he shouts and stuff, and then into a Tube Tech CL1B, which is a lovely opto smoothing compressor basically, and that's it.
Hi, my name is Daniel Kent, and I am the monitor engineer on the Robbie Williams tour. We use Digico mixing consoles, Wizicom and Shure radio equipment. We're using Fourier for plug-in hosting, for reverbs, Cedar digital noise processing, and Pro Tools for recording. It's a combination of analog and digital inputs, so obviously any microphones on the stage, on instruments, come analog into SD racks. Radio microphones come to us via AES signals into SD racks. Playback comes to us via MADI. And all of the inputs go into optical devices. So we have optical AES and MADI I/O, and we have Digico SD racks, and they all go into an optical auto router, which then connects to the console. So the signal path is completely digital from when it leaves the microphone. While doing monitors is more by committee, so it's not necessarily what I think is the best mix, but as long as everybody is happy, we spend a lot of time in rehearsals, working together, discussing, you know, what works best for each song. So yeah, it's a collaborative process. So how we rehearsed is we had the, first we start with the rhythm section of the band for a few days, and then we had the brass, and then we had the backing vocalists, and then we sort of have the full company for maybe 2 weeks. So the first week we kind of stagger people coming in, and then we have everyone all together. So yeah, we spend a bit of time with everything. I think it's just giving people what they need to perform, especially in like a large like stadium situation where the acoustic environment is pretty harsh, making sure everyone's got what they need to perform at their best and to enjoy the performance. We use talkback microphones, so everybody has a talkback microphone, so we do a lot of communication like that. But fortunately, you know, we're like 20 shows into the tour now, so there's not too much being changed. I think we have, how many belt packs have we got, Fergus? 60? 60. Maybe 45 active and about 15 spares, yeah. 12 people in the band, and then there's 8 dancers, and there's about 10 backline technicians, and then there are, you know, various other people who need to hear what's going on. So yeah, it soon adds up. For Robbie, we have a complete We have spare packs, and then we have a complete separate IEM system for him with multiple packs on, which is always active. For the band, we have a single spare IEM system, which I can route any of them to from the mixing console. And then we also have like spare units in the system that we could repatch to, but touch wood, we haven't used any of them yet.